ladies and gentlemen, you know that Trump made cuts to food stamps. And the ones that are going to be more devastated by this are white people in rural areas. That's why they call it Trump country. So, ladies and gentlemen, they are complaining already. So earlier this month, the U.S. Department of Agriculture finalized new restrictions on eligibility for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, commonly known as food stamps, which provide food assistance to 40 million people in 2018. Millions of low-income families, seniors, and veterans and people with disabilities access this vital benefit. You know, the one they claim is just us on, which is a damn lie. All right. It's going to be rural America. That's going to be the biggest ones hit the hardest by this new rule. Under the new rule, which goes into effect in April 2020, work requirements for 700,000 SNAP users who are labeled as able-bodied adults without any dependents will be tightened, potentially leaving them without access to the program and push deeper into poverty. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is why they're talking about rural communities, because those are the ones that are going to be hit the hardest, and that's why it's spoken about in this article. But an unintended consequence of this measure is the damage that it will do to rural communities and supermarkets they rely on. And those supermarkets actually rely on a lot of their income from these EBT card carriers in rural areas. SNAP is one of the best government programs out there. Kip Yoss, who owns and operates 2 grocery stores in rural Missouri, told the Daily Yonder, a news source for rural America. It really helps us pay our utilities, our workers, and keep the doors open. So they heavily rely on these people that have the EBT cards. The USDA is eliminating that small grocers will lose $177 on average a month, okay, which is a lot for grocery stores operating on razor-thin margins. In 1996, President Bill Clinton signed a comprehensive welfare reform bill that, among other things, specifically required able-bodied SNAP users between the ages of 18 and 49 without dependents to prove that they were working at least 20 hours a week, or they would be cut off after 3 months of benefits. To mitigate the impact of this requirement on areas with high unemployment, states could request waivers for the 3-month restriction, which would extend benefits for the able-bodied recipients. Many of them, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, are among the nation's poorest adults, with an average income of 18% of the poverty line. Delaware is one of the states that has never requested such a waiver. But Trump's administration new rule will make those waivers much harder to get for this population, leaving hundreds of thousands of people and the communities in which they live vulnerable. SNAP users help grocery stores bottom line, said David Proctor, director of Kansas State University Rural Grocer Initiative, according to a report from the Civil Eats, a news organization that reports on America's food system. SNAP cuts will mean that places as different as Detroit and rural Alaska could suffer. In Detroit, two different grocers told researchers that SNAP makes up to 80% of their business. In rural Alaska, according to Eater, a food news site, for some village grocers, SNAP benefits make up 40% of their profits. Oregon Food Bank CEO Susanna Morgan estimated that the state stand to lose $18 million in revenue in grocery stores and agriculture production. Small grocer, small grocery stores in rural areas are likely to experience the biggest financial hit. SNAP is a huge economic engine for rural areas. Sarah Reinhard, a food system and health analyst at the Union of Concerned Scientists, says out of the 150 counties with the highest SNAP participation rates, 136 are rural, including 48 of the top 50. Exactly. That's where your biggest welfare recipients are, ladies and gentlemen. It's not the inner city. It's out in these rural communities. That's where they are. Okay. So in 2017, $65 billion in SNAP benefits created and supported 570,000 jobs, 50,000 of which were in agriculture sector. Because more SNAP recipients live in rural communities than urban ones. Did you hear me, ladies and gentlemen? More SNAP recipients live in rural areas and not in the urban ones. Again, these people have lied all along about who gets these welfare benefits. They are more likely to shop locally, supporting a community grocer. When SNAP benefits are reduced, grocers also suffer, as do the energy suppliers that keep the lights on. The truck drivers and distributors who move the products and the farmers who produce the food. Every dollar spent through food assistance programs translate into 1.80 of economic activity, so $1.80. So when SNAP recipient uses the benefits for food, the individual's other limited resources are freed up for housing, healthcare, and transportation, which in turn flow back into the economy. Because those affected by the new rules are able-bodied adults without dependents, SNAP is usually the only benefit they qualify for. Without food stamps, they will struggle even more to make ends meet. As I reported last week, these are folks who already are living on the edge, says Lisa Hamler Fugit, the executive director of Ohio Association of Food Banks. She adds it's our national nutrition safety net, and it serves up to 40 million Americans. I've never witnessed anything like this. It's a deliberate attack. Unsurprisingly, the rule will hit communities of color and people living in rural areas the hardest. No, the rural areas are going to be hit the hardest. They're going to be hit the hardest because that's where most of your food stamp recipients are, ladies and gentlemen. And they did not want to admit that for many, many years, But see, the cat is out the bag. We know that more white people get food stamps than anyone else in this country. And then they try to make up the excuse, well, they're not on it as long. That's a lie. That's a lie. They are on there just as long as anyone else. That's also a lie. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is going in effect. And there's a lot of people that are going to literally crumble because of this decision that Trump made. And so now the requirements are changing. So if you are a person with no dependents and you are what they classify as able-bodied, you got to get off of food stamps. They want you to go out here, look for a job, and fend for yourself. That's what this government is telling you. They no longer want to help people like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we shall see what happens. We shall see what happens. You know, snap cuts are sinful. So you see people are out protesting this already. Already. They are out protesting this. But we shall see. We shall see who falls and crash and burn the quickest in this whole thing. I think I know who it's going to be, y'all. And I think you all know who it's going to be too. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.